My girlfriend told me, I need space, I'll reach out when I'm ready. I respected that. No texts, no calls, just silence. Then her cousin posted a reel from the beach. It showed a guy's arm wrapped around her waist, her ex's arm. I didn't say a word. Instead, I transferred the car title back into my name, cleared out her closet, and changed the locks. When she came back all tan and smiling, she found her key didn't work and her bags were sitting on the curb. Before I continue, thanks for being here. It means a lot. Quick thing, only 8% of viewers are subscribed. If you like these kind of stories and want to see more, hitting that button helps a ton. Looking back, I should have seen it coming. This wasn't the first time Natalie had asked for space during our 3-year relationship, but it was definitely going to be the last. 2 weeks ago, I returned from a business trip and found her already on the couch with her bags packed. Not dramatically, just a duffel and her laptop bag, like she was only stepping out for a long weekend. I need time to think, she said, not quite looking at me. Things have been intense lately. They hadn't. If anything, life had been steady. I worked my IT security job. She ran her boutique downtown. We ate dinner together most nights, watched the same shows, went to bed at the same time. It was routine, stable. Nothing had changed, or so I thought. Where you going? I asked, keeping my tone level. Probably my sisters, maybe my parents for a few days. She stood, hoisting her bag onto her shoulder. I just need space. I'll reach out when I'm ready. I didn't argue, didn't beg, just nodded. Take all the time you need. She seemed almost let down by that response, like she was expecting a scene, some desperate plea. Instead, she got silence and composure. I'll text you, she said, pausing at the door. Only when you're ready, I replied. After she left, I sat in the quiet of the apartment thinking back over the conversation. The packed bags before I even walked in. She'd already decided. The vague explanation. Intense. Didn't describe anything we'd been experiencing. Her destination was unclear. Her sister lived 15 minutes away, and her parents were a quick drive. None of it added up. Still, I didn't reach out. I gave her what she asked for, space. 5 days went by. I worked, hit the gym, caught up with a few old friends. Life kept moving, just without her in it. Then, out of nowhere, I got a notification from Instagram. I rarely use the app, but Natalie's cousin Mia had added me months back. I almost ignored it, but something in the preview grabbed my attention. A beach reel tagged in Tulum. I tapped it open. Typical vacation stuff at first. Waves, drinks, music. But then the camera swept across a beachfront restaurant. And there she was, Natalie, laughing a bikini top and a skirt, her hair lighter and shorter than had been 5 days earlier. And beside her, casually holding her waist, was Ryan, her ex, the one she'd always dismissed as a thing of the past. I watched that reel 3 times, noticed how comfortably she leaned into him, the way they were dressed, the matching bracelets. This wasn't a random meetup. This had been planned. I didn't comment, didn't message. I closed the app and made a list. First, the car. When Natalie's old sedan died last year, I helped her finance a newer one. The loan was in my name because her credit wasn't great. We agreed she'd make the payments, and I'd transfer the title after it was paid off. We even signed a notarized contract. Section B, Paragraph 3. In the event of a breakup, the car would revert to me unless otherwise agreed upon. Second, the apartment. I was the sole name on the lease. She'd moved in a year and a half ago. No sublease, just monthly Venmo transfers for rent. Third, her stuff, clothes, shoes, makeup, electronics, books. The furniture was mine, except for a vintage dresser she'd inherited. The next day, I got to work, called the DMV, scheduled an appointment, spoke to my bank, confirmed the car loan details and title status, rented a storage unit, and bought packing supplies. Then I visited the apartment office. I'd like to discuss security, I told the manager. My girlfriend is moving out, and I want to make sure everything's handled properly. She offered a rekey service, or I could do it myself. I chose the latter and handed over a copy of a new key once I was done. I also confirmed Natalie was no longer a resident. Since she wasn't on the lease, no extra paperwork was needed, just a note in their records. That weekend, I rented a van and asked my brother to help me pack her things. We handled everything carefully. No broken items, no spite. Each box labeled clothes, books, toiletries, electronics. I wrapped the vintage dresser in blankets and strapped it safely in. I took photos of every item, documented condition, contents, and dates. The car required a bit more effort. I tracked it to long-term airport parking, yet another sign that she hadn't gone to her sister's or her parents'. I contacted the parking service, showed proof of ownership, and arranged pickup. By day 9 of her space, I had changed the locks, transferred the car title, moved her belongings into storage, and updated all relevant documents. No calls, no texts, no social media rants, just quiet, deliberate actions to reflect the new reality. I gave her space, literally. Day 12, my phone buzzed, a text from Natalie, landing at 3:30 tomorrow. Miss you. Talk soon. I didn't reply, just set a calendar reminder to work from home the next day. At 4:45 p.m., I heard her outside, struggling with the lock. A few moments later, I saw her through the peephole, tan, refreshed, confused. Then her eyes dropped to the neatly stacked bags on the curb. The knocking began, soft and uncertain, paired with the jittery sound of someone shifting their weight, nervous energy barely contained. It grew louder, more persistent, until I opened the door. Natalie stood there, golden hair kissed by the sun, her smile flickering and vanishing as she took an expression on my face. Behind her were 2 oversized suitcases, far more than she'd taken with her. My key doesn't work, she said, clearly confused. No, it doesn't, I replied evenly. She tilted her head slightly, suspicion creeping into her features. What's going on? You said you needed space. I said, I'm making sure you have it. She tried to push past me, but I stayed in the doorway, unmoving. This isn't funny, she said. I'm exhausted from the flight. I'm not. Ryan, I cut in, color drained from her face. I meant I'm just tired. You know what I meant. I held out an envelope. Your belongings are in storage unit 247 at Safekeep on Westfield Avenue. Rent's paid through the end of next month. Here's the receipt, the key, and an inventory list. Also, the car is back in my name per the agreement. You'll need to find your own ride. Her mouth opened, then closed. You went through my stuff. I packed it carefully. I said, everything's there, even your grandmother's dresser. You can't just kick me out. This is my home, too. Your name isn't on the lease. You don't have tenancy rights under the law, especially not with our arrangement. I confirmed it with both an attorney and the property manager. Her expression changed, and I could see the calculation behind her eyes. Natalie had always been smart when it came to legal gray areas, probably relying on the casual nature of our setup to protect her. This wasn't part of her plan. Her voice dropped, trying to sound vulnerable. Where am I supposed to go? Maybe your sisters, your parents, or wherever Ryan's staying in Tulum. That name hit her like a slap. What are you talking about? Mia should be more careful about what she shares online. Or maybe tag you next time so you know who's seeing it. Natalie's features stiffened. You had no right. No right to believe what I saw with my own eyes. No right to respect your request for space and make it permanent. No right to enforce the agreement we made about the car. A neighbor passed in the hall, slowed down by curiosity. Natalie forced a tight smile and dropped her voice. Can we please talk about this inside like adults? We are talking like adults. Adults who value boundaries and truth. Fine, she snapped. I went to Mexico with Ryan. It was a mistake. I was confused, needed time to think. But I came back, didn't I? You came back to a convenient situation. A warm apartment. Someone who paid the bills. There's a difference. Tears welled up in her eyes. Too quickly, too practiced. You're really going to throw away 3 years over one mistake. The mistake wasn't just Mexico, I said. It was the lie about where you were going, who you were with, why you needed space. The mistake was thinking I wouldn't find out, or that I'd just accept it if I did. I stepped back, hand on the door. Your bags are on the sidewalk. Storage closes at 8. You should get moving. Her voice wavered, a final plea. Where am I supposed to sleep tonight? Something to consider before you left, I said, and shut the door. Through the peephole, I watched her cycle through the stages. First shock, then fury, then desperate bargaining through a flood of texts I didn't answer. At last, resignation, as she hauled her luggage to the elevator. I didn't feel the closure I thought I would, just a quiet, heavy sense of confirmation. My instincts had been right. That night I ordered takeout, cracked a beer, and let the reality of it settle in. Not just a betrayal, but how I'd chosen to respond. Cold, measured, but necessary. The messages didn't stop. Natalie, her sister, even Ryan tried to reach me. I read every word without replying. Space granted, permanently. 3 weeks passed. I want to thank those who sent kind words. They meant more than you might think. The situation evolved in ways I hadn't expected. After that first night, Natalie began what I can only call a full-scale media campaign to get back into my life. The messages shifted tone, angry, then tearful, then manipulative. "I'm sleeping in my car," she claimed. I stayed silent, except for one email, the storage info again, and a note that I'd paid for a second month. Then came the outside pressure. Her sister called my job. Her mother left voicemails pleading for reconciliation. 3 friends reached out, each using nearly the same phrasing about hearing both sides. I ignored them all. The most unexpected twist came from Ryan. A week after she returned, he sent a long email. Apparently, Natalie had contacted him, claiming we'd broken up months ago and she needed closure. He apologized for his role, though it felt more like guilt after learning she was homeless than genuine remorse. Eventually, Natalie collected her belongings. Her sister's husband helped with a truck. They left behind the vintage dresser along with a note, saying I could shove it somewhere uncomfortable. I donated it to a women's shelter. They were thrilled. The car became a brief issue when Natalie tried to argue she contributed enough to claim partial ownership. My lawyer sent her a breakdown. She covered 31% of the payments. Our notarized agreement required 50%. She dropped it. From what I've heard, she's now staying with her sister, whose husband is reportedly overjoyed. Ryan, as it turns out, didn't have room for her alongside the ocean views. A lot of people asked if I regret handling it so coldly. I don't. When someone plans to deceive you, packs before you return home, invents a fake family visit, flies out to meet an ex while claiming to need emotional space, what kind of warmth do they deserve in return? Had she been honest, "I'm reconnecting with Ryan. This isn't working," I would have helped her pack like 2 mature adults. But honesty never came, and that made all the difference. To those concerned about legal issues, there were none. I consulted an attorney before taking action. Our situation, no lease, no formal sublet, her registered residence elsewhere, meant I acted within my rights. As for the car, yes, the arrangement was unusual. It was her idea. She wanted to build credit while using my financing. The agreement was written and notarized. Another layer of irony. In hindsight, I chose the storage unit over tossing her stuff on the lawn because despite everything, I'm not vindictive. 2 months' rent was a small price to avoid accusations of destroying property. For those asking why I didn't confront her the moment I saw Mia's post, why bother? The truth was plain. No excuse would change what happened, and silence carries more weight than shouting ever could. This isn't a revenge story. This is a story about self-respect, about not tolerating deception and emotional manipulation, about drawing a line and holding it, no matter how many people try to push it back.